Hi, everyone. Welcome to What's the Buzz, the Apis Productions podcast series. I'm Peri Lane, CEO and founder of the company, and today is a very special episode. The tables are turned. I'm the one actually doing the interviewing of our very special guest of honor, Danny McKeever, the usual host. Danny is our creative tech wizard, and we're talking today about AI. This is kind of a part two of a series that we started last year on AI. So we are going to be talking today about Chatrpillar, which is our latest brainchild. So welcome, Danny, to What's the Buzz?
Thank you, Puri. Good to be with you as always. And thanks everyone who's watching. I think you're going to like this one.
Yeah, so why don't you start with the origin story of Chatrpillar, and really let's talk about how it came to life.
Well, all right. So obviously, artificial intelligence has been more than a buzzword. It's begun to change lives. I was not the earliest adopter, but maybe about a little over a year ago, I started digging into, ChatGPT, large language models, the code behind all that, and possible, and started daydreaming about possible solutions for our clients because I love Apis and I love our clients, and my brain is just obsessively on how we can solve their needs. I mean that earnestly, and I saw some opportunities there, and so I thought, could I create a chatbot that respects the privacy of the client's data, but that uses the client's data in order to provide their customers, if it's a BGA, their agents, their advisors, with a better website experience. That was kind of the initial thrust behind it, and I did figure out how to do that, and using pretty much any large language model that's out there. We all hear about ChatGPT, but the truth is there's like 100 large language models out there. And yeah, and so I began work on creating a chatbot using a test client's data.
Yeah, I know you spent a lot of time looking at the competitive landscape and really surveying what was out there. And I know it's ever changing. It seems to be just every week we turn around, every day it seems, and there's something new. But it maybe you could talk about how Caterpillar is different from the other AI assistants and where you see it in the market.
Yeah, that's pretty key. Uh, so what's interesting about AI is it does a lot of things the same for everybody. The difference is rarely the large language model itself. They all behave similarly. Some are designed for different tasks. But if you're talking about a semantic, like I can talk to it, it has a knowledge base and it talks back to me from that knowledge base, they're all very similar. The difference, as with anything in business, capitalism, anything, is human. The
Yeah.
difference is me and you and our entire team. Apis knows the life insurance business and industry and the fintech space backwards and forwards, upside down and all around. And we understand our clients on a very personal level. We understand their business. And so when you have a connection that rich, that deep with an industry and your clients, and we have hundreds of clients in the industry, you can apply that expertise, that niche and that minutia to the AI, which is otherwise pretty much the same for everybody. And then it becomes radically different. It becomes very personalized, and you can truly create a solution that serves someone in a very specific way that the AI on its own can't do, at least not at this point.
Right, right. Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's our domain knowledge. I think that
Yeah,
adds a special twist to it that we can really tweak it to do really what our customers are asking for.
right.
And so I know we've got it set up for a few of our clients right now. Can you just maybe share a success story of where you've seen it really implemented and people are using it?
Yeah. So, this is a brand new offering from us. Yes, I've been developing it for over a year and, trying to gain mastery over how to best implement and utilize it. Um, but one of our earliest adopting clients uh, is actually Levinson and Associates. And what Bill Levinson wanted to do was he has an enormous website, just enormous, lots of great marketing materials for his agents and advisors, lots of information. And you can only organize a website on the internet so many ways. You can have tabs, you can have drop down menus, but the more different offerings you provide, and he provides just a tremendous amount of offerings, um, you're going to have to click 3 or 4 times to get to places. It's just the way the internet works, the way keyboards work, the way screens work. So I thought, well, gosh, for someone like him, uh, an IMO like his, wouldn't it be nice if instead of having to dig for something for maybe a new agent that doesn't know their way around his gigantic website, and we built his website, we made it as efficient as you possibly can. But how cool would it be if somebody said, uh, I I want to learn about the marketing acceleration program that Bill offers, and they could just ask it, just type in the question, and then have the chatbot respond not only with a brief summary of what they would find if they made it to that page on the website that talks about that marketing program, but also provides the link to that page. So once they log into Bill's website from their dashboard, they can just immediately start talking to a robot to get whatever they want. He's got a wonderful scholarship program called Sage. Like they can ask about Sage. And what's so cool about it, and this is where the large language models really shine, is it doesn't matter which way you ask the question. If the scholarship program is called Sage, they could say, "I want to learn about the scholarship program." It would provide an answer and the link. I want to learn about Sage, or they could just write Sage. It can
Right.
interpret the input, the query, in a multitude of ways, just like a human can. That's really I think the real magic, for me at least, is it's because that's the part I don't have to code. It just does that natively. But there's a
Yeah.
big data push in the beginning of building these. Um, you know, I've seen other competitors out there, and obviously not direct competitors with us because they don't have any knowledge of the insurance industry. They don't know what an IMO is, or a BGA or any of that. But as far as just like a semantic talking bot, one of the big differences is how do you put that data in? Are they just scraping someone's website? Are they just uploading PDFs, Excels, Word docs? That's one way to do it, but I can tell you through a remarkable amount of trial that I saw some error when you do that. And the problem with script, the bot digests things better if you prepare the data for it. So, I mean, think of it a like a baby. You don't just hand a baby an apple. You feed the baby applesauce, right? It can't eat
Yeah.
an apple very well. It'll choke on, and it does. So I learned that when I was, seeing what are the best ways to get data in there. And I think that's probably the other thing that would separate us out is a lot of these standalone chatbots that are coming out now that you can like maybe purchase for your company or what have you. They really just are having you upload PDFs. It's not great at that yet. Uh,
Mm.
and it won't be good at accepting the question. That's the reality. If you want the bot to do something interesting, at least like provide links, provide more than just an answer. So
Right.
yeah, I think that's one of the things that really separates it out. Again, it's the human component, somebody overseeing how that data is being fed to the robot, and then quality control. I did a lot of testing. I asked it a lot of questions. I had the client give it to all of his staff to to ask questions to get back to me and tell me, hey, it didn't seem to know about this, et cetera.
Yeah. Yeah. And that it sounds like, and I know from the way you've described when you've been working with our clients to set this up, the implementation phase is really key and crucial. So it sounds like that's what you're referring to with kind of priming the content and the documents. So if somebody were interested in using this, what would be the best approach to, getting started, or what does that look like for you?
Well, for this initial run of Chatrpillar, which is I describe it as like almost an intelligent search or a semantic intelligent search that you can talk to. Um, the best approach, I really liked how some people on Bill's staff did it. I asked Bill, have everybody give me the most frequently asked questions that they get. The phone rings at an IMO or a BGA. Somebody has to pick that phone up and answer a question that they've probably answered 100 times. A question that's probably even answered on an FAQ page of their site. But we're human beings, and agents and advisors, they don't want to dig through a site finding the FAQ page. So they make a phone call. So I figured, let's solve that problem first, because that costs money, right? To answer that phone. That's time taken away from work they could be doing, more important work. And so they were great. They came back to me with like 50 frequently asked questions, and where I could find the answers. For the most part, I did do some digging on my own to find the answers on their site. And that was great. So I started with that. And I think that's a good approach. Like, reach out to your people, first solve the problem of what do our consumers, our customers, in this case, agents and advisors, what is it that they're constantly asking about that they should just know, but they have to call and find out where is our time being spent poorly? Because the Chatrpillar absolutely solves that problem like from day one.
Yeah.
And then after I kind of baked that in and tested it, then I started going through their website myself as a human being and really examining every page. And it's like I think like 70 pages on his website. But I would go through every page of the website. And if you have a small website, there's probably other things you would like your website to say, but for whatever reason, maybe a design reason, you don't have it say. Like, you can really expound the knowledge bank of your website with Chatrpillar, because you can feed it the information that really doesn't fit on your site. So people could ask, it could be simple. Maybe you have a consumer facing site and people are going to ask, what's an annuity? Or what are the types of annuities? Or should I get an annuity? Like, we can answer all those types of questions as well. So it can also be like a teachable moment for a consumer, as well as an educational moment for an agent who may be newer, or maybe has never sold long-term care before and wants to understand more about that. So that's the process begins with, let's get your FAQs out of the way so people stop calling you. And then let's dive deep. Let's make this robot an extension of your CEO, an extension of the most knowledgeable person in your company. And let's make it as though you're having a conversation with that knowledgeable being, with the human being, because there's just real magic there. It's almost like magical realism, in a way.
Right. Yeah, one of the things that I got excited to hear about too, Danny, was the way that we can take the log files from the Chatrpillar, tool, and analyze what people are asking for. And it really becomes another tool in our, toolkit for us to help our clients understand where is the information, being placed on the site, and how we can leverage that. So I don't know if
Yeah.
you want to add any more to that, but
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big data nerd. I love data. I love search
yeah.
engine optimization. I love Google Analytics. I love all these things. And it's interesting because, this is going to tie into those log files. One thing that I'm a big fan of when we build a new site, and I've been recommending lately, is to get a heat mapping software like Lucky Orange or one of those, and that basically tracks a user's journey when they're on your site in real time. You don't get their name, but you get a video of what they did on your site, and you use it to see, like, is my call to action the button I want them to press? Are they even scrolling down and finding it? Are they clicking it? Where's their mouse going on the screen? That kind of data is really important. Well, what's awesome about the capabilities of Chatrpillar is as important as where they're going on your site is really what the moment that comes before that for the user. What are they looking for? And why are they looking for it? And when you don't get that from mouse clicks, you sort of get what they're looking for if they find it. But you do get it when somebody asks a question in English, actually, it could take any language, but that asks a question. And you can see each of those questions and the response if the agent or whoever has a follow-up question and that response, and you can see the conversational history that's happened with your entire chatbot. And so you
Yeah.
really begin to realize quickly, um, whoa, I've got this FAQ page. I'm used to answering these questions. These are actually the questions people want to know about. And
Exactly.
so let's say you've got an offering. Let's say you wanted to sell more long-term care, right? Everybody does today. Uh, and but you're not really addressing that need. Maybe you don't realize what it is they want to know about that. You can read a whole series of questions people are asking about what types of long-term care, what's hybrid long-term care, like all these important questions. And then you can take that information and say, we need to build a landing page that addresses this and that shows our expertise in this as an IMO, as a BGA, et cetera. And really you can serve your clients based on precisely what your clients were curious about. And that's power. That's a lot of power.
It is, and it really just takes analytics to a whole new level, I
Yeah.
think. So I'm excited to see how we can start gleaning, some information from that and help our clients position things differently on their site. Very cool.
Me too.
Um, oh, I wanted to ask you also about the tone of voice. Like, that was really exciting to see too in action, where you can kind of direct the bot on how to appear, and the conversations that they're having with the advisors and agents. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, yeah. So there are many, many components behind a chatbot. Everything from the modules to upload information, uh, text splitters, vector databases, a whole bunch of words that won't necessarily make any sense to anybody watching this right now, unless they've dove deep into it too. But one of the components is literally the instructions you give to the robot, and you can give them in any language. And think of it almost like a Chat GPT prompt. It's a little different, and it requires constant tweaking until you get it to behave exactly as you want. But one of our clients, who was willing to sort of be a bit of a guinea pig for us in the early phases, uh, they don't have a huge website. They've got great products, but not a huge website. And I asked them, uh, I said, hey, you go and you pitch to these large firms, these HR reps, to sell these great group policies. Why don't you record yourself pitching? Just describe your company, everything you like about it, everything you offer, why you're the best. Just record it on your phone. And they did. And they sent me an hour of them talking about their company. And I took that and I transcribed it into words, using actually hilariously using a different AI software tool so that would speed up the process. And we don't always realize it unless we're into poetry, perhaps, but the written word has a cadence, it has a tone. And because I know the client very well, and I've talked to them and meet with them, I know any of our clients that I've met with, right? And I know kind of their vibe, their personality, and I love words, so I like describing people as well. And that description, my personal assessment description, combined with the cadence of the words that I gave to the bot and said, uh, "This is who you are. Like you are this CEO." And I won't name names just because he might be shy, but you're this CEO. Um, here's what you're like as a person. And I described
Yeah.
I described my assessment, and I said, and take this text and the cadence of this text to when you answer any of the questions from the data I've given. And it does. So it's not that you're just talking to something that sounds like a person. It's not just passing the Turing test. It's You can have it be talking as though it is an actual person in your company.
Yeah.
It could be your CMO, it could be your CEO, it could be your admin staff, it could be anybody. Um, And there's something really cool about that also, because in a way, and it's so subtle, it's a way to brand your company. It's a
Yeah, I
really
was just
subtle
gonna
branding,
say,
but it's very natural. It's a very natural branding, you
yep,
know.
it's an extension of the brand, I think, when you can weave into the conversation the voice and the messaging that, can come in from the stakeholders. That's pretty neat. Very
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun. It's fun, and it takes some practice. Anyone who knows Bill Levinson, for example, knows he's a really optimistic, fast charging guy, just a real great guy. I mean, he's hard not to like. And he's energetic. And when I was trying to get the robot to sound a little bit like that, at first it radically overdid it. It was like way too exuberant, and the answers were hilarious. It was like, I remember it was 7 in the morning, and I was just laughing my head off because it was answering like way over the top. But at
Right.
least it had the right idea. And so I toned it down. And it got to that kind of very natural point that I was happy with, and Bill was happy with. I do want to address something else. I think some people are really concerned about safety of their data, and
Mhm.
there's a kind of a misconception, but I understand where it comes from. Um, we all know of OpenAI and ChatGPT, their product GPT, and when you're on ChatGPT, their website, the free, when you're just like asking it to write a social post for you or whatever you're asking it is recording all that data. It's keeping it, and it's using it to make ChatGPT stronger. Your data is not safe. Don't ever anybody put any important numbers or identifiable anything into OpenAI's ChatGPT. Even if you're paying for ChatGPT, they're still keeping it. But the API that goes to ChatGPT. So if you were to use one of their large language models and you were developing a product, like let's say Chatrpillar, and I can use OpenAI's model. Meta, Facebook has a model that's open source. There's a number, like I said, there's hundreds of them. But if you were using OpenAI, their privacy policy, when you're using an API to create a product to go in and just use their large language model, is totally different. It's not. It is absolutely private. So I mean, they hold the data for a short period of time. I think like 20 days, just to make sure that you're not doing something nefarious, or setting up
Right.
a hit on somebody or something. But then it's deleted for them. So and they make that very clear. But I know in the news I've seen, because your data is not private when you're just using ChatGPT. Using a chat bot that you build is different. And then obviously the other language models, the vast majority of them don't keep any data whatsoever. Many of them are not even for profit companies.
Yeah.
So it's just important to keep in mind. You can really restrict it to only knowing the data you give it. So everything about the client that I want the bot to know about, I can taper down or tone down the robot to only know that data and never speak out of turn, to never answer a question. I have a test, I call it the kangaroo test. And after I create the bot and I adjust it up and down, to give it a little bit of personality, maybe a little bit of extraneous knowledge, but not much out of the data, and I instruct it not to answer outside of the data set. One of the first things I do after seeing if it knows the stuff I gave it is I say, how far can a kangaroo jump? And if it says 20 feet or 20 meters, no, 20 feet, I think it's 20 feet how far a kangaroo can jump. If it says a kangaroo can jump 20 feet, then I've got to make some changes.
Right.
If it says I haven't learned about that, then I know I'm good. And I've got a series of questions I ask it that I just call the kangaroo test, to make sure it's not going to speak outside of the data, because some clients really don't want it to know anything other than about their company,
Yeah, I would say that's probably the majority of our clients
for the
are
most
in
part.
that camp. So that makes a lot of sense. Um, so Danny, what's ahead for Caterpillar? What's on your mind? I know you've been just
A lot.
really taking this, to the next step, it seems. And I'd love to hear what you have up your sleeve.
A lot is ahead for Chatrpillar. Chatrpillar is really going to become a suite of specialized chatbots. Some of them will be more like tools than the current iteration of Chatrpillar is. So right now we have this, like I said, an intelligent search, a semantic search. You can talk to, you can find PDFs, documents, build charts, whatever it is you offer your clients. it can retrieve it for you like that without them having to dig through your website. That's fantastic. It's a great product. I want everybody to have it. Please reach out to us. You're going to love it. We can demo it for you. It's really cool. It's different than ChatGPT. It's cooler than that.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of other needs. And one of the needs I see is lead generation is obviously a huge component of our industry. Most people, most of our clients get most of their business from referrals. That's still the way things are done. They've begun to use some of our marketing programs here at APIS to help them recruit and also re-engage with old business. And I see a really good role for Chatrpillar there too, because I can also have the functionality of it collecting information and sending that information anywhere I want, whether it be your CRM, a Google sheet or an Excel sheet, really anywhere. And so imagine, if you will, being able to offer your agents and advisors a tool, an AI tool that can help them collect leads on their independent websites, right? Just from people who are curious about insurance, life insurance. They can just be asking it questions. You get a log of what they've asked for, so you can optimize your offering, and you get their information because the chatbot will ask, oh, can I get your email address? Or would you mind giving me your first name? So you can collect what you can direct the bot. It's not all just a spontaneous moment. I also create modules where I say, make sure you ask this question, and then it takes the answer, and I can ship it somewhere else for you to follow up on as a warm lead, a warm lead that's already kind of spoken with your company. And
Yeah.
so that's one thing that I'm building. I also see a tremendous opportunity for tools. I'm a big fan of needs calculators, and the problem is there's a bunch of them, and some of them are really boring and not fun to fill out. I would much rather the greatest needs calculator is an awesome agent, right? A really good needs calculator. The best needs calculator is one of Bill's agents or one of any of our clients' agents and and advisors. And so I want to go into the office of that agent, but do it from my laptop and not on Zoom, and ask the questions I have as a consumer to the bot, and the bot can kind of ask me the right questions about what are my needs, what are my financial goals, do I have a mortgage, do I, my age, all these things. And because we don't have to collect, HIPAA information, but we could collect all the, we'll probably avoid the medical conversation, but
Right.
we could collect everything else, and it could give it, the robot is it could give the person, it sounds like you would do well with a 20-year term, because you've got this amount of time left on your mortgage because it's asked that question. Or it'll be, what, you're at a good age to consider long-term care. 3 out of 4 Americans in the United States will require long-term care at some point for a minimum of 6 months and an average of 2 years. And it'll know all this stuff, and then it'll explain what that is to you. It'll be like speaking to an agent. Or, an indexed universal life policy would be really good for you. It's got a zero floor, and it could really like sort of give you options. So basically, I'm considering that like the Lord of the Rings ring, only for calculators. As lame as
Yeah.
that sounds, it's one calculator to rule them all. No more different needs calculators for different types of policies. Let's ask the human questions an agent would ask, and then in a deliberate, deterministic fashion, offer the different life insurance products and which one they would be best, or which one would serve you in which way to meet your financial goals and your family's financial goals. So that's something I'm working on that I'm really excited about, just because I do like calculators, and it's something the bot can be really good at. It combines math, which every computer's the best at, with the semantic search, which the large language models excel at, as Chatrpillar shows today. So it's tools like that. And I've got a few more up my sleeve that when I have time after these other things come out, I'm going to build very specific structured tools and semantic bots.
I love it. Yeah, that interactive journey is especially interesting. We have a lot of people, I think, that would be interested in that. Just anything to help with the conversation and to get that started. So that'll be fun to see.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a real
so
psychology to it. Like, you know how
yeah.
nobody likes to fill out contact forms? Like one of the biggest gripes, we always hear is my contact form too long? Nobody's filling out my contact form. Nobody's filling out this call to action because I'm asking for, first name, last name, date of birth, phone number, email, whatever. And we'll be like, oh, just ask first name, last name, and email. People don't like to give too much information. That's true. There's a real psychology today in the modern age because we're constantly giving out our very important information. Everybody's asking for it. I can tell you the first time I started messing around with these AI bots and I was building one to collect information, even though I had built it and like I knew what it was, I knew everything, I knew what my intention was, I
Yeah.
still had an experience when it was asking me questions. It wasn't nearly as big a hurdle to get over because
Huh.
if I met you on the street and didn't know yet, Free, and we just started talking a little bit, and you said, "Oh, what's your name?" I would say Danny McKeever. I wouldn't think twice to give you my name. If we talked a little longer and you said, "Oh, what's your email address so I can reach back to you?" So we can hang out again. I
Hmm.
wouldn't think twice about giving you. I just spent time with you. A contact form is static and cold, and
Yeah.
it's decidedly not human, right? We don't have a relationship with it. The whole uncanny valley, like overcoming the uncanny valley thing with these AI bots, means that barrier is a lot thinner or maybe a lot lower, and the end user is pretty comfortable after the robots chatted with it to to give it its information the same as I would give it to anybody who I befriended on the street. So there's a really interesting concept there that I experienced and that others have too. So I think there's that's really powerful aspect of this whole new world actually.
Yeah, it's a conversational element that I think makes it stand apart, and that kind of reflexive back and forth
Yeah.
effect. So I can see how that would be an engaging experience for sure. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
All right. Well, this has been super helpful and informative. I know you've been busy at work behind the scenes, so I'm learning more about this as we speak. But anything else you want to add?
Yeah, we have a page on Avis's website, a Chatrpillar page, and we've been emailing our clients, letting them know about it. People have been visiting it. Uh, really seeing it in action helps a lot, and I like doing demos of it. In fact, usually for a demo, I take data from the public-facing pages of the person who wants to see the demo, and I create a mini version of the bot so they can really feel what it would mean to be, for their company. So I encourage people to do that. If anything else, just to kind of what we've noticed in these demos is the client, when they see it, get very inspired. They think of other things they would want it to do. And so I encourage anybody, whether you want to buy it or not, but want to consider it, ask for a demo. Let's do it because it'll really kind of, in a very positive way, shape the way you think about connecting with your clients. And it's very beautiful watching that happen in the demos we've done. But yeah, just reach out to us and ask us about it. We've got a little version of it that talks about Apis on our Chatrpillar page. And yeah, we can talk about the possibilities for you and some of the other things that I'm building now may also have some really good utility as well. So reach out.
Great.
Let's have a
Yeah,
conversation.
and the website address is apisproductions.com/chat, CHATRPILLAR. And
Yes.
if nothing else, go check out the logo because it's really adorable. Okay, thanks, Danny. This has been really enlightening. Again, I'm Peri Lane, and this is another episode of What's the Buzz? So see you next time.
See you next time. Thanks, Preet.